Hello everyone, so today I'm going to show you another way that I like to warm up before I start a painting. So every time I'm about to start a commission, especially a commission, because I don't want to waste too much paper if I'm doing it for someone else, so I like to warm up by doing floral paintings or either doing gesture drawing. So today I'm going to do just a very abstract and loose flower painting. It's no particular flower, just pretty much letting my hand loosen up. So I'm using a wet on wet technique. I'm using Arches watercolor paper and a cold press, and I'm using ink, and this ink is mixed with gouache paint, so it's a little bit lighter and it's not as fluid. And I also, for this painting, I'm also going to mix a little bit of Chinese watercolors with my inks, so I have a little bit of control over the flow. So I'm just pretty much drawing these little sprouts of paint, and I do this really quickly. It's just to warm up. If you ever started a painting, especially like a serious painting, you always know that if you're starting like a fresh painting, usually the first one is kind of not that great. So it's always good to warm up, just to even if you're a professional painter, just to loosen up. Okay, so now I'm taking pure ink. This is acrylic ink, and I'm just dotting it in on top of my petals. So now this is where the flow is. So you can see that I've put water down already, and this ink is starting to flow into my watercolor mixture. Okay, so on top of this flower, at the top, I'm going to use this is two inks mixed together. So this is Winsor & Newton's ink in Canary Yellow, and it is also Dr. Ph Martins ink from the Radiant line. So you can see how those colors are blending together beautifully. The yellow is blended into the green, and the green has blended into this like powder pink color. And I will tell you a photographer that I love for abstract flower photography. His name is Earth Penning. I'll leave his name in the description box as well, and also Nick Knight. So if you ever need inspiration for flowers that are not like traditional flowers and detail, they have really beautiful floral photography, and they just kind of capture flowers as they're like blowing in the wind or as they're drying out and dying, which is really nice. Okay, so for the next flower, I'm going to use the same wet to wet technique. I'm just wetting the paper down first, and I'm just pretty much just kind of letting my hand go where it wants to go. Again, this is just for warm up, so I'm letting the brush kind of take the watercolor where it wants to go. It's almost if a flower is dying off and the leaves are spreading out or falling off. Not the leaves, the petals, I mean. Okay, so on the end of this flower, I've mixed together a little bit of gray with the same mixture that I used for the first flower. So a nice way, in my opinion, to darken up colors or brighten them up is to add white or add gray. I really don't like to add black because it really darkens the colors too much. But if you add gray, it'll just give you a little bit of a darkness to it. And I'm just going to put a swipe of ink for the stem. Okay, so for this last flower, I'm drawing it as if the leaves are kind of sprouting out to the side. And I keep saying leaves, I mean petals are sprouting out to the side. So I'm going to start off using the same mixture, and then I'm going to dip my brush in pure ink so that it has a little bit more flow. And then to the middle, I'm going to also do the same thing I did with the first flowers and add my green ink, just pure ink. And I did a video last week about how you can control your paintings a little bit more if you add watercolors to your ink. So if you're not completely comfortable with just using pure inks, a great way to control that until you're comfortable, or if you don't even want to use pure inks, is to add a watercolor. And I usually like to use tube watercolors versus the pan watercolors. Okay guys, and that's pretty much it. If you want to add a little bit more detail, I'm just taking my brush and adding a little bit of gouache paint. And that's a great way to warm up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next week, and leave in the description box below ways that you like to warm up before painting. I'll do a whole series about this because I have several different ways that I love to warm up before I start painting. All right, see you next week. Ciao.